All right, hello everyone, and welcome to SharePoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is my weekly show that I do on Wednesdays at 11 Central. And we come in here and we chat, and I do demos, and I've got a Slack channel, iwmentor.slack.com. iwmentor is my own SharePoint training company, and we are the sponsors of Power Hour. On Power Hour, I demo just a wide range of things you can do in SharePoint and Office 365, just typically out of the box things that you can do, not a lot of heavy dev involved typically. And my background is actually as a server admin, and today we're going to go over the new OneDrive Admin Center in Office 365. It's pretty exciting. It's got a lot of new controls that a lot of people have been asking about over time, and controls, reporting, auditing, and things like that. So they've really added a ton in there. So there's a whole admin center now dedicated to OneDrive. So how do you get there? First of all you have to do is, of course, you have to be an admin of your tenant, but you go to admin.onedrive.com, and that's how you can get straight there. There's probably a link to it somewhere in the just standard Office 365 admin center. I'm not sure off the top of my head where it is, but you can go to admin.onedrive.com. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, I forgot to do the stinger at the beginning. Well, okay, here we go. This is the Office 365 Admin Center. And you guys, as I'm doing this demo, as usual, just feel free to jump into the chat, say hello to everyone, give me your feedback as I demo this. Give me a golf clap if you think something's cool, or are like finally they created this feature, and now we can do this or that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have the home page of the OneDrive Admin Center. It says, basically gives you a little message letting you know that they are going to add reports and other features soon, but they have this link immediately where you can give them feedback. So you guys, I encourage you all to go in here and try this out and give Microsoft your feedback and let them know what you think. All right, so the first thing that we have in here is the sharing tab over here. And this is basically, you can't give it, the setting must be at least as restrictive as your SharePoint setting. So basically you can't make it less restrictive than just your SharePoint external sharing setting. So this is all about external sharing. So I'm going to actually grab this shortcut, and I want to share it with you. So let me go grab that and put that in the chat window for you. All right, so we're going to go over some of these options. Now, it's got a few things grayed out, I'm noticing, because I don't have everything enabled in here. So just for demo's sake, in my tenant, I do not have anyone, including anonymous users, to be able to be shared with. But I'm going to go ahead and light that up just so we can see what all the options are in here. All right, so let users share content with external users. You can just completely turn that off right here. But the most permissive is going to be anyone, including anonymous users. Then new and existing external users. This means that either somebody's already been added as an external user, or you're adding them now as you're sharing the thing with them. The thing with only existing external users, that is going to be really for that sort of extranet scenario where you have a specific set of people that you're already collaborating with at maybe one specific other company. I just put a link to that one in there too. And that's going to be where they already are in your directory because you've already shared something else in SharePoint with them. So if you've already shared something and they've already accepted the sharing invitation, then they show up in your directory, in your list of users. So that's this means that it's not going to let you share your OneDrive stuff with someone new. It's going to only allow, it would restrict them to only be able to share with somebody that has been shared with before. That makes sense? All right. Spat says, I don't get why a SharePoint Online config component is exposed in OneDrive for Business. Well, OneDrive for Business is SharePoint. You know that. I know you know that. OneDrive for Business is SharePoint. So it's just, it makes total sense that you're having a lot of the same settings in here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to anyone like this. And then maybe towards the end, if you guys remind me, if you want to see what I'm talking about with this external users that are already in your directory thing, we can go look in my directory and go, it's kind of obvious when you're looking through your directory of people in Office 365, the people will have a completely different domain name as your own when they're listed in there. So it's pretty easy to spot them. All right. Let users share SharePoint content with external users, and then let users share OneDrive content with external users. So that makes sense that they're putting them both in here because, again, like I said, OneDrive is SharePoint. And then your OneDrive is just a little bit, I think I've already done a whole other power hour just about OneDrive for Business, but just a little bit of quick background. Remember good old SharePoint 2007, 2010, you remember My Sites, and everybody got a My Site, and then everybody had My Documents in their My Site, and everybody had their own document library. Well, that document library in your My Site, that is OneDrive. That is your OneDrive. So that's the same concept. Let me see, why is that making sounds? I need to mute that. There we go. Mute. All right. Stacy says, do the external users use one of your licenses? No, they don't, which is a benefit. So just a little quick tidbit, external users, you cannot make an external user a site collection admin, but you can even make an external user, give them full control of a SharePoint site. And of course share files with them. So even like when I'm teaching my SharePoint class, for my beginner class, beginners are just doing like end user type of things, you know, working in libraries and lists and some pretty simple things. They're not doing anything advanced with permissions. So when I teach my beginner class, those beginners that I add to my tenant, I just add them in as external users to use external sharing to share with them, for them to be able to get into my site and go through all my training. But for people that take my more advanced classes, where you actually need to be a site collection admin and you need to work with permissions and things like that, then I actually give them a student login in my own domain. So yeah, that's the explanation of that. All right, so let users share OneDrive content with external users. That's very sketchy to me, but at least we have some reporting. So, you know, we can turn that on. I still don't like the idea personally about the anonymous users thing, because that's OneDrive. That's everybody's OneDrive. You can't pick and choose and do particular people's OneDrives. Default sharing links. Direct means only people who already have permission, which I like that. I like that concept, only people who already have permission. So that means when you share something with somebody, you're not creating like a special permission for them on that item, which is really big. So when this little share button first came out, the little share button on every single file in SharePoint, people would go crazy and sharing things, and it was breaking permissions left and right. And so you're not even though it's a best practice to not necessarily have a bunch of crazy different permissions on everything, and people know that, a lot of times they didn't realize that clicking the share button, they were breaking permissions on that thing. Even if you're just adding a user to something, it would break the permission. And even if the person already had permission to the thing, it would put them in separately in the list, in the permissions for that item, which is super annoying. Let's see, IK Wilson says, even though The OneDrive for admin panel shows it's allocating external users. It is still actually controlled by the site collection configuration applied to the my.sharepoint.com. Yes, we'll go look at that as well. So yeah, that's in the past, that's been the only way to go do that, is to go to your list of site collections and to go just select that one site collection called for the my stuff, which really is a different site collection for every single user, but with only one one item in that list that you can configure. So back, when you're on premises, when you're managing all your site collections, you can actually see all the different people's site collections in the list of site collections, right? So default sharing links, I like the direct, only people who already have permission. Internal, only people in the organization. And then of course, anonymous, anyone. So this is just the default. This is just by default when you're setting, when somebody clicks the share button, what are they getting? So I like the direct one. That's my favorite. And then anonymous access links. This is something that previously you could only configure via PowerShell. So this has been possible for probably at least a year now. But now your link's expiring, you can do this. You have a UI now to be able to say, if somebody sends out anonymous access links, when are they going to expire? I highly recommend putting an expiration date on that. So you have accountability. You don't have all this stuff floating around everywhere, right? Okay. And then you've got your file permissions for anonymous access. I recommend view only because I don't know. I just would rather have someone viewing things than automatically giving them edit permission. So I don't know. It's up to you and what you think your end users will expect to be doing. When they're sharing something with somebody just in general outside of the company, are they typically wanting that other person to be editing the thing, or you just want to do view only? So that's going to apply to them all for anonymous. Folder permissions, view only. So it's if you share a whole folder, I assume, or library. That view, edit, and upload is sketchy to me because it almost makes me think they're going to give them that fun little edit permission level that I love so much. I'm just kidding. That really gives them the ability to manage the whole list or library. So I'm not sure. That one's sketchy to me too. So I'll just say view only. And then limit external sharing by domain. Allow or block sharing with people on selected domains. So this is really good. So this is again for that extranet scenario where you only want to have certain domains that people can share with. So you could say only on certain domains or block certain domains. And then I'm not going to do that. What can external users do? External users must accept sharing invitations using the same account the invitation were sent to. I like this, and this is actually helpful. Somebody shared something with me the other day from their Office 365 tenant, and they invited me to it. Well, you could see when I'm doing this demo, I'm logged in, I'm using I have this WonderLaura tenant, which is my demo tenant, which is just a bunch of fake content in there and a bunch of fake users. And I always just, I just do my demos in it. I don't really use that for business. Well, I was logged in my browser after doing a demo as the WonderLaura account. And so I received an external sharing invitation from somebody and just clicked the link, and it brought me straight to their page and say, hey, welcome to our SharePoint site, or whatever it was. Except I didn't want to be logging into their domain with my WonderLaura account. So now my WonderLaura account is the one that I have to use to be able to go to this vendor of mine, this site, to be able to go see their site that they shared with me. And I really would have rather, it prompted me, I would have rather be logging in with my own real work email address and had a choice. So it just happened to be that I was logged into the browsers that I should have known better than to just click an Office 365 link. I should have opened the browser, checked. I really know better. But anyway, so that's what can happen. So just kind of keep that in mind. Does that ever happen to you? What's your experience with external sharing? Any trials and tribulations? Now this has changed a lot over the last few months. So issues you might have had a few months ago, you might not have anymore. But I like this setting. External users must accept it using the same account the invitations were sent to. Of course, When you're sending the invitation, the person sending it needs to know the correct email address to send it to. Because like, what if I have a certain email address that I use as my tenant, and what if I have like a different one that I happen to be corresponding with that person with? You know, that's normal. Like a lot of us have several different email addresses, right? So the person sending it to you would have to know the correct either Office 365 or Windows Live account to send it to in the first place for that. And then let external users share items they don't own. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Let external users just share with who knows, you know, I don't know. I don't know about letting external users share things, because I'd like to probably keep that more tightly controlled. So let's see, when I go put this back here to new and existing, and see, notice that although that stuff kind of reset and all the information about anonymous stuff is not on here anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that again. And we'll go look at the sync tab over here. All right, got 29 live viewers right now. Ooh, that one was not broken a few minutes ago. Oh, it wants me to log in again. It's been a while, so it's just double checking. I was just in this screen literally just like a few minutes ago. Let me just close it completely. So I'm still in here. This is my Wonderlar account. Just refresh it. Good grief. Now it's all confused. I don't even know. Okay, I'm just gonna close the browser altogether. Just when I'm talking about being confused and having all these different accounts, and then that happens because it timed out, basically. That's what happened. See, yeah, too many. Stay signed in. Okay. Sometimes I will have maybe externally shared something from my Wonderlar domain with my actual real account in my other domain. So then when I go to this site, it thinks I'm that guest user, and so that doesn't give me admin access. Let me try this again. Oh my gosh. At least it's very secure. It's very secure. IK Wilson says it's got much better. I shed blood in the early days when they get it, accept with any account, when there wasn't an option to require the accept with the email. Yes, I agree. Home sharing, we went over the sharing settings. Sync, there we go. All right, so it gives me a quick button to go download the sync client if I want to. Fix sync problems, that's just going to give me like a help page to go read about how to fix sync problems. And then show the sync button on the OneDrive website, and allow syncing only on PCs joined to specific domains. So this is syncing, of course, is synchronizing that whole list of files in your OneDrive down to your hard drive. So do you want them to be able to do this? And if they're on some other computer, like if they go home and they're on their home computer, maybe you have very content that you want to be very careful about, and you don't want them syncing that down to their home computer. You want to make sure they're on your domain. So that's awesome. That's huge. I'm glad they added that. And then show the sync button on the OneDrive website. This means that if somebody goes to, let me just, oops, Wonderlar, open up a new tab. And I'm going to go to OneDrive. Oh, good grief. All right, so this sync button, that's what it's referring to. So that's what it's telling me, that I can take that off if I don't want them to see that or be able to use that. Oh, thanks for the article. Unsupported character types with a quick, okay, cool. And then block syncing of specific file types. So this is helpful if you have a bunch of large files and your people are wasting a bunch of bandwidth or space on their hard drive syncing down certain file types, maybe large videos or audio, CAD files or whatever, you can go edit. I just manually added these myself, but you can go just add some more. There's no OK button over here, so you just add them in here and then just click away from it and it puts them. Stacy says, does it have to be connected to the domain to sync or just a domain added computer? It's only going to be a PC that the computer itself is joined to the domain. So yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah. By default, you can be wherever you want to be. Yeah, a lot of customers I deal with, they don't even have a domain nowadays. Everybody's just remote. They're just kind of all over the place. They're all over the country. They're just all these remote people doing their thing, different branch offices. And a lot of people nowadays don't even have an actual domain. They just all use their Office 365 accounts when they're logging in to their computers. So, yeah, so if you have a domain, though, you could use that. Okay, I'll go ahead and go to storage. Default storage is 1024 gig. What's the maximum for my Office 365 plan? You can go look at what your maximum is. It doesn't really, by default, the storage space is 1 terabyte. If you have the following Office plans, the default for new users is up to 5 terabytes. I have E1. So mine's 1024 apparently. No, wait, actually that account that's an E5 plan or E3 or E5. So it should be at least 1 terabyte, but you can limit that down and, you know, hard code a number in here if you don't want them to have that much stuff. Days to retain files in OneDrive after a user is marked for deletion. 30 days is the default. You might have seen this. This concept has been around for for a long time, ever since My Sites. You know, your My Site would automatically, now it looks at the manager field in Active Directory. So the manager of that person, after the person left the company, the manager would get an email and say, here's the link to that person's their My Site, basically, and their My Site and all their files they have, and it's up to you if you want to clean that out, if you want to get some of the files out of there. So that is basically how long the files are going to stay in there after they're gone, and I assume that the manager still gets that email. If it really helps to have that manager field and active in your directory. It helps to have it accurate. It's buffering. Why would it be buffering? I'm sorry. I'm doing like nothing on this network. I'm not sure. I have nothing running. Let's see. Is anybody else experiencing buffering? I'm not sure what to tell you about that. Looks okay. Whatever it was, maybe it got fixed. Yeah, I'm looking at my little live stream over here and looks like it's fine. Anyway, all right, so the next thing is device access. This is cool. This is your mobile device management stuff. So they've made this super simple. There is still, of course, what's it called? Intune, which is another service you can purchase for mobile, very advanced mobile device management, but this gives you some mobile device management. First of all, I can say, these settings right here apply to content in OneDrive and SharePoint, control access based on a network location. So you can be very specific as to where, how they can get to their content like this. Control access from apps that can't enforce device-based restrictions. So you actually, it looks like this is not enabled by default. So you have to check the box to allow access from apps that don't use modern authentication. So that means other apps. So I don't know what other apps you'd be accessing your OneDrive or SharePoint data through. I guess maybe some sort of custom app that you have. Not sure. Mobile application management. This is the OneDrive app and the SharePoint app. Have you guys tried those out, or do you have those on your phone? I have them both. I think they're awesome. I'll go to my little OneDrive in here. I need to get one of those little things that lets me hook up and share my phone screen. Anyway. So here's the OneDrive app. So that's what it's talking about, and it's on Android and iOS. Apparently this doesn't apply to my poor old Windows phone that I don't use anymore. I gave my old Windows phone to my daughter, and she's in 7th grade, and she came home and said, "Mom, the other kids are making fun of me because I have a Windows phone and not an iPhone." She has an iPhone now. All right, so I can create this policy and deploy it, and have all these other things that I can do with these options here. So I can block downloading files in the apps, block taking screenshots. Wow, that's pretty detailed, right? Block copying files and content within files. This is like some of that information management stuff that we did. I did a whole other power hour about the what's it called? Not information management policy, information rights management. Information rights management. So this is kind of like some of the stuff that you can do with information rights management, right? But it's on your devices as well. So block printing files in the apps, block backing up your data. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Like Word 2010 doesn't have modern authentication. Got it, thanks. Block backing up app data, require app passcode, block opening OneDrive and SharePoint files in other apps, encrypt app data. Wow. So that means if you lose your device, that some person who steals your device is not, it's going to be encrypted, so they're not going to be able to steal your data. This is going to be for people who have really high priority sensitive data. But this is also good news, because people that have data like that in the past probably were not using Office 365, or probably were not allowing people to use OneDrive. But now that we have all these possibilities, this actually opens it up for all those government workers and people like that with all this super secret information or hospital information. Now they can work on those files on the go, and their boss can expect them to be working on those files wherever they are and not only when they're at work. Is that good? Let's see. So encrypt, require Office 365 sign in each time the app is open. That sounds like a pain in the ass. I don't know. Would you want to do that? If you did that, your users might not want to use the app at all, because that could be not fun. Users are not going to like that, especially if you have like a really complicated password. When a device is offline, verify user access after 90 minutes. I don't know about the 90 minutes. That looks like, again, that's the default that they're suggesting, but you can change that, which means that I guess if you're offline that long, it's going to make you re-authenticate, or it's going to automatically re-authenticate behind the scenes, and then wipe app data after 720 days. So after 2 years, so I guess that means all the content, I'm guessing, that's in my OneDrive that may be like stagnant, like files that I haven't worked on in a while. They're just kind of sitting there. Maybe this means that for each file, as it gets to be a couple of years old, it's going to automatically just not be on my device anymore. That actually sounds like a pretty good idea. That doesn't sound bad at all. Okay, so those are your settings for, let's see if it gives me any other choices now. Those are your settings for device access. And then compliance, really this just has a bunch of links here. So we'll get to that in a second. Notifications are going to be, use these settings to control notifications in OneDrive. Display device notifications to users when OneDrive files are shared with them. That's kind of nice. I like that. So that's turned on by default. So if I'm walking around out on the town and somebody shares a file with me, my OneDrive little pop-up is going to come up in my phone and let me know that somebody shared a file with me. So I might want that. Now, it's also probably going to depend on if I have notifications for that app turned on in my phone. If I have I have notifications turned off for a bunch of stuff. So you're probably not going to get a device notification if you have turned off your app notifications. Stacy says, require login could then replace not having encryption if your phone is lost and they wouldn't see it. Yeah. If your phone is lost, they wouldn't see it. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's see. Email OneDrive owners when other users invite additional external users to share files. Yes, I think I would want to be notified, and that's turned on by default. And then notify OneDrive owners when external users accept invitations to access files. So that's good to know. I usually like to know that because once I share something with somebody, it puts them in the directory. I might have other different things I want to share with them, or I want to give them certain permissions in different places. So I like to kind of know once they've accepted that invitation. A lot of the times, have you ever found yourself going and checking your sent invitations screen and refreshing it to see if the person has clicked on the darn thing yet? So that's what it's gonna, and that's just gonna be for OneDrive. So let's go back to compliance. Auditing, this is cool. So search the audit log. View user activities related to OneDrive, such as who recently accessed, deleted, or shared files. It's gonna ask me to log in again. And let me try that again. Okay, so there we go. So it takes me to this, my security and compliance center, which is yet another place that I can get to all this stuff, and to my search and investigation section here, my audit log search. So this is where this is like, this is using the search index most likely and using the data that's already there. So what do I want to see? I want to see maybe modified files, checked out files, downloaded files. So I've got 3 different things that I want to see. And then from what date range? Do a couple of months here. Because this is my demo tenant, so I don't have a ton of content out here. And then I'll say for all users. And, I could do an alert. So think about search alerts. Think about, if you're not aware already, there is a functionality in SharePoint that called search alerts. So anytime you do a search anywhere in SharePoint, if you scroll down to the bottom of your search results, you have a button that says search alert or create alert. And you can create an alert based on search results, which means it'll just let you know next time something else falls under that set of results, or if something new or something modified and you have some choices there. So this alert looks like it's that same concept. So I have the ability to do alert when, that is so cool. I've never even seen this. When these activities happen. So these are the activities that I selected in my search that I was doing just now. So I could actually create specific alerts around these different activities. Now, I don't think I would want to be notified every time somebody in my entire organization downloaded a file from their OneDrive, but I could. So this is particular users. So then I can say, let me know when any of this particular user's files get checked out, downloaded, or modified. Maybe you're keeping an eye on somebody. And who do I want to send it to? And I can add a bunch of different recipients. That is very cool. It's a new one. Okay, so here are the search results. I have a file in my OneDrive called tweets, and I have a automation that's saves all my tweets to this Excel spreadsheet. And apparently that's the only file that's getting modified. So I can see there's some other ones. So test company. So look at that. I can click on something and I can get, wow, IP address information, who did it, what they did, what the item was, record type. Wow. This, of course, the URL of where that file is. This is awesome. You guys like this? I think this is really cool. This is a lot of logging information. And then I have more information about that source and the object itself and the user that's accessing it. All just, wow, more than I think I would ever want to know. And it looks like I downloaded this file called this AdventureWorks document when I was at this IP address. and blah, 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 file downloaded. So that's a lot. That's good to know. A lot of have you guys had this happen where you had people ask you, they just want to know information about people downloading files or opening files, or just give me a list of the people that have viewed this file, things like that. So this looks like this is just in central admin though. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to give this screen to somebody who's just maybe the owner of some library or the owner of some site or subsite. But this is definitely something that the admin is going to be able to do. So you have all these, look at all these activities that you can monitor. Checking in files, checking out files, sharing, unsharing, accepting sharing, anonymous links, company shareable link, access requests, synchronization. Look at that. Oh my gosh, you can even do auditing on downloading files to your computer, you know, synchronizing your OneDrive. Oh, I like this one. Site administration activities. This is awesome. I don't think I've ever seen this either. So, wow, you can log every single thing that all your site admins are doing too. So this is one of those things, this is like a governance type of thing, right? Are you guys as excited about this? I'm nerding out over this right now. This is like one of those governance things that a lot of times you give people, or I see customers doing this where they give like 15 people full control of a site and not even realizing that that's not a best practice. You really just need to give them the ability to read or edit stuff in most cases. But that way, when people have full control of a site and somebody changes permissions or changes settings on something, you have 15 people that could have possibly done it. Like, there's no way to know because the admin stuff wasn't logged before. But now all your admin stuff is logged. Look at that. So I'm like, ooh, added another site collection admin, modified site permissions, renamed a site, removed a user from a group. You can do all this stuff with mailboxes, Sway, user admin. So this is like Office 365 user admin, Azure admin. I'm going to go back to the SharePoint ones because those are pretty exciting. This is not like every single possible thing you can do as an admin, but it has to do with people modifying permissions in a lot of cases. So that's very cool. Yeah. E-discovery. So e-discovery is a way that you can see all these logs and do, you know, search for things. So you can actually monitor your monitoring. So you can monitor your e-discovery. So that's the next thing I was going to say is if you want your people that, like if I have a site, just a site owner, there's somebody that's in charge of, you know, some files in a library really, basically, that wants to monitor what's going on in that particular library. They want to know a list of who's opening files, downloading files, and stuff like that. You can't really give them access to central admin necessarily, but you can create an e-discovery subsite for them to be able to create their own little, do searches and do reporting and stuff like that, just for their own stuff. But so if I did that, then I would, you know, I could monitor what they're looking for and what they're reporting on and searching for. All right, that's pretty exciting. Ooh, I can do Power BI activities. I'm just, all right. This is way too much fun. Okay, so those are all the things that you can report on. And then once you get your results, it says 150 results found. Then you can filter your results. You can narrow it down further. So I can do, you know, different IP addresses, different activities and stuff like that. All right, and now let's see what's the next thing that I can do in here. Auditing just took me over to protection.office.com, and I'm just gonna, now if you guys want to log in to this in your own tenant, I'll just go ahead and put that in the little chat window too. Let's see. Okay, so then the next thing it takes you to is, I had no idea that I'd be able to fill up an hour with just these like 7 little tabs here, but this is fun stuff. Data loss prevention. Now this is not just one, all these things are not OneDrive specific. These are just, it's giving you a nice central place. I love this screen. It gives you a nice central place to be able to get to all these. And really all of them are probably just taking you to the compliance, the security and compliance portal, really. So I would normally get to the security and compliance portal by going to my admin like this. I'm just going to showing you another way to get to some of these pages I'm going to. Admin Center, and going to Admin Centers, and no, security and compliance. So that's protection.office.com is where it's going to take you. So a lot of these screens that for these different reports and things that I'm showing you are just in your security and compliance center. Okay, back to here. So create a DLP policy. Let's go look at those. This has drastically changed since last time I looked at this and demoed it. They've added a whole bunch more to it, and the interface looks completely different. Basically, this lets you control the sort of the retention of things. So look, I've got financial, medical. I can do like find some HIPAA information, and let's see, yeah, next. So I pick HIPAA. And then I say HIPAA. And we'll protect content that's stored in the locations you choose. All locations, let me choose specific locations. And then what happens? Customize the types of sensitive info you want to protect. If you're creating a custom policy, choose the type of sensitive info you want to protect. But you can start with a template. So mine, I started with a template. And I can detect when this content is shared. So when you've got social security numbers, DEA numbers, and like I said, you could do HIPAA and stuff like that. I could set that I want to detect when that is shared. Let me go to my advanced settings. So low volume, high volume, I don't know. Maybe I just want to know when there's a whole bunch of it being shared. That's a little weird. I feel like I've gone down a rabbit hole here. Do you guys ever get that sense in SharePoint where you just kind of like, you click on so many screens and then you're like, what the heck is this? How did I get here? What is all this? This is a whole different. So now I've got all these tabs that's taking me through here. So I'm not going to go into all this, but basically you can get to the DLP policies from within your OneDrive. And it actually, as I'm going through creating my DLP policy, it checks the boxes. I like that interface. Yes. MRACLY just created in my MSDN tenant. What? Oh, me free. What? Oh, the wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know what you were talking about. All right, let me go back to the next one. View DLP policy match reports. So this is going to be for DLP policies that you've already created, and this is where you can look at reports. So if I go to reports here, and I can go to my, it's taking me straight to my reports. So if things match that DLP policy, like social security numbers, HIPAA, whatever, I can go look at the reports on the things that it's discovered. All right, and then retention policy, let's go look at that. Again, this is in the security and compliance under retention. I can do retention for mailboxes and for SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business. So let's go look at one of those. That takes me to my Compliance Policy Center. So these are just, this is your deletion policy. So that's why I joke and call it like DLP document, data loss prevention. I call it data loss enforcement because really what it's doing is enforcing when things are going to get deleted, like automatically. So little nerd joke there. And then eDiscovery, where's this going to put it? Because eDiscovery has always been a template. So that is a site collection template that you can use and create a new site collection as an eDiscovery. And I think it's actually also a subsite. Let me double check real quick. Site contents, subsites. I'm just going to click to create a new one real quick. Is eDiscovery a template? No. Okay, eDiscovery is one of those ones that's just for a new site collection. You can't create an eDiscovery subsite, but go back over here. Sorry. Like getting lost down the rabbit hole again. eDiscovery is a site template. So when I go to like this generic create an eDiscovery case, that'll be interesting to see where it's going to take me. So this is a new place basically where maybe it was too complicated for people to have to understand to create a SharePoint site collection for eDiscovery and then be able to create cases in there. So they created this generic eDiscovery place where you can go and create test cases. Now, in a SharePoint eDiscovery site collection, each test you create is actually a subsite that it's creating. So I'm not sure where it's putting these, the fact that it's just putting them all in the admin center here, but let's go look at that. So it's, protection.office.com/UCC/eDiscovery, and then it's just putting it pretty much just in this central place right here. That's weird. So this is my case. So we did a whole other power hour about eDiscovery, so I'm not going to go into it, but it's another way that you can report on and search for your content. I like that little other, I like that auditing log better than the eDiscovery, but it's the same concept. eDiscovery, you can actually make it do something with the content, like put holds on it and not just search for it, not just look at logs. And logs have actual activity of what people are doing with things, and eDiscovery is more like finding the content itself and giving you a list of the content. So I can make it give me a list of all files that are in people's OneDrives or all files in somebody's OneDrive, like that in eDiscovery. I like the way that you guys are having a conversation about poetry over there. That's awesome. And then this alert thing, this is the exact same thing that we were just looking at when we were over here looking at the activity alerts. So activity alerts, this is awesome. I'm going to tell one of my customers about this because I think they need it. But yeah, that's very cool. Oh, 11:49. So I've got about 10 minutes left. What do we have going on? I went over all the different options in here. Do y'all have any other questions or comments about that? Let me go back and look for some of this reporting, by the way. Let's see, reports, usage. So I went over this when we went over in my other power hour where we talked about OneDrive, but your reporting is also, kind of relevant to OneDrive because it gives you the ability to see information about some of those files. So let's see, I've got Exchange, Skype for Business, and Yammer showing in here. Security and compliance reports, which is not necessarily the exact same thing as going to the compliance policy center, but this is another place where it's giving you all the links to all these different things like the auditing and DLP, etc. Let's go back to the usage report so I can see 180 days. I can see all this pretty detailed information about activity and activations, active users. Why doesn't it have SharePoint right here? I could have sworn it used to have SharePoint right here. That's interesting. Maybe they moved the SharePoint stuff out of here because they're putting it in. Oh, that must be what they're doing. They must be putting the SharePoint and OneDrive stuff over in the SharePoint admin center. So maybe that's why they just took it out of here. Oh, well, there's SharePoint right there. Okay, whatever. Office 365 active users, SharePoint. I've got 7 active users. That's definitely not OneDrive data and files like that though, right? That's just the number of users. Yeah, 1 user spike for each power hour. That's pretty funny. You're right. You're totally right. Since this is just my demo tenant. So, I mean, every time I go into this admin center, there's new cool stuff to try out. So I probably, you know, I've already had a SharePoint Power Hour about OneDrive for Business. I've already had a SharePoint Power Hour about e-discovery and some of these things. But I feel like some of these things might actually need to be revisited from what I'm seeing, because they just added so much to it. It's awesome. So I'll go ahead and flip back over to here. Couple things I have, let's see, Wonder Laura. My speaking engagements. I'll be speaking at SharePoint Saturday in Hawaii. It's next month. That's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys come see me in Hawaii. I will not be doing a power hour that week. Probably not, at least. I don't think. And I'll be speaking at SP TechCon. You can get a $200 discount when you use the code Rogers when you register for SP TechCon. I've met a lot of you in person there. It's always a lot of fun to meet you in person. Let's see. Lee says, have I reviewed OneDrive recommendations related to this in the securestore.office.com? No, I haven't. Let me see. Welcome to the Office 365 Secure Store. Let me go share my screen again. Thanks for the link. Secure Store is a security analysis tool that will help you understand what you've done and reduce the risk to your data. That's pretty cool. It figures out what Office 365 services you're using and looks at your configuration and behaviors. Take action, improve your score. That's pretty fancy. And we'll have to tweet that out. That's nice. I like that. So my secure score, it gives me a score immediately. My secure score is 33 of 273. Awkward. That's neat, though. I like that. My little risk assessment. I've also got, I wanted to show you something fun in Power BI while I'm in here. Yeah, you guys can just stow away my luggage to Hawaii. That's right. Power BI, I've got this Office 365 Adoption Pack preview. This is pretty cool. So this is Office 365 Adoption. It's got active users, email activity. These charts that they created are pretty fancy, by the way. Then I've got active users by product, adoption by region. This is, I'm not sure, but this might be one of those free new content packs. I got it as a preview content pack, but I think they might have actually rolled this out by now. I'm not positive though. Okay, so here are all the tabs in the report. Office 365 adoption, product usage. That's very pretty. Communication, collaboration, users collaborating on own and others OneDrive. One user, that's me. What department are they in? That's me, I'm in IT. Storage, ooh, that's very cool. Look at all the terabytes that you're using. And activation, Exchange users, OneDrive usage. So maybe this is kind of what I was thinking that I had seen somewhere. But this is a content pack. So when I go to Power BI and I go get data, it was a content pack that I got this way. But anyway, I think it was like a demo thing that I got. But that's that. Go back over to here. And let's see, Power Hour next week. What do you guys think? What is you super curious about? What have you been working on? What's new that you're trying out, or something that has been a challenge to you? What project are you working on? Were you trying to build something in SharePoint, or a workflow question, or what do you guys think? I go invite somebody else in here. I should just do, I noticed that there's this fancy thing called a Twitter poll, I think. I should just go do a Twitter poll to ask. But I really wanted to ask you guys, the ones that are watching live, all 32 of you, what you think about what next week's topic should be. Mobile. Thanks, Tom. You mean the apps, the mobile apps, the SharePoint and OneDrive mobile apps? Is that what you're talking about? Tom works at Microsoft. Let's see. Anybody else have an opinion? Somebody mentioned that new Staff Hub. Have you guys tried that out? I don't know about demoing the Staff Hub, because every time you add users to the Staff Hub, it makes you add them by using their phone number. So that, I don't know if I want to be putting a bunch of people's phone numbers in there. I'm not sure. Term store, utilizing the term store in new apps. Grice, what do you mean by utilizing the term store in new apps? Like in Power Apps? Or in what in particular? The modern stuff on mobile, Tom says. Oh, Stacy says more Power Apps. Okay. I have been creating, I'll give y'all I have been creating a new platform for my IW Mentor site, a new training platform, because I use Shopify right now and I'm moving away from that. So I'm moving all my classes to this new platform, which is a really nice, like, e-training, like, really cool platform that hopefully I'll get out soon and have it public and have everything moved over there. It's just taken so much time. Dynamics 365. I should get my husband to demo that. It's mostly CRM, but Dynamics 365 right now is a pretty generic term. It's yeah. He works on CRM. All right, well, Manuel says Power Apps. Yeah, I need to do more in Power Apps before I can demo more in Power Apps, so I need to get right on that, right? New modern sites. Yeah, well, I did the new modern sites. I did the new modern web parts already, and I did all the new modern lists and libraries last week. So go check out last week's, I spent the whole hour on all the new modern lists and libraries. So they did add a couple of new web parts. I need to add to my blog post of all the web parts, so I'll do that. But not much has changed since I did my demo last week on the new modern lists and libraries. All right. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Thanks everybody for coming, and I will see you next time. Have a good afternoon.